All right, everyone, welcome to the podcast. We're going to talk about tomorrow's Rizin card, get some fan picks for some of the UFC, but I wanted to introduce part of the team here, Mr. Teep to the Junk. He does nothing, but, we pretend like he's part of the team. How you doing today, Mr. Teep to the Junk?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate the charity.
Hey, thanks
You
for
know,
doing nothing. I really appreciate that, and
helping
salute to
myself
you.
team. I appreciate. I brag on you.
No, we got a lot of content coming, badmoonrising.com coming real soon, beginning of August. You'll be seeing a lot of Teep to the Junk's writing and a lot of his blabber. And what else do you do? Are you going to show your ass on camera?
Probably not my ass, but we are going to talk about a lot of Bellator, and and obviously JMMA. But yeah, like I'm a rabid Bellator fan. I got a lot of stuff coming, but we're also gonna have just as great interviews with all
Hell yeah.
kinds of from different promotions and characters from this wonderful industry that we're on the fringes of. Nice
Damn
good
right.
tertiary character in the MMA world. Lovely.
And I just got to speak for you for a second and say that Mr. Teep to the Junk is really talented. You're going to be seeing some really cool video clips coming out of him. Of course, I'm going to continue doing podcasts and things like that, but you're going to see some write-ups from him. The website, a lot of that design is going to be his. So everyone needs to make sure they follow him on Twitter at Teep to the Junk, right?
That's right, all you bastards. And you can also find me at Reddit. It's also Teep to the Junk. There's a little dash on either side of my name.
Don't find him at Reddit because people are ready to kill him over there.
You come flame me on Reddit and make fun of me, and then we'll keep it more formalized on Twitter. Just speak only in Queen's English. Everything's formal.
Word up. So we're going to have Mr. Muhammad Zubair calling in here in just a couple minutes. And we're going to just do a short breakdown for tomorrow's card. We'll probably talk about a couple of the UFC fights. Before we get started here, before he calls in, should be a couple minutes. I wanted to ask you, Mr. Teep, what was the highlight of the last Rizin for you? If you remember the card offhand, I can pull it up if you need me to.
I watched in parts, man. I don't know. I can't even really call it. I think you should talk more about the card. That wasn't one that I got to watch closely. Had some shit going on. Some heavy shit.
Now, well, that was the one. I guess that was June, right? Yeah. So that was before. Geez, I barely remember that card too because what I remember the most is the Bellator. What was it? 222.
Man, I'm not even sure. The Bellator's been kicking all the ass, though, dude. I'm losing.
Well, Bellator NYC, of course, where Kyoji Horiguchi became the only active two promotional champ.
Yeah, shout out to Gucci. Shout out to the unified champ. As far as I know, the only male division unified champ in the sport, isn't he? Is anyone else actively defending two titles? Like in a position?
No, I think no, not for sure, not. I think that I mean, I want to say that it was like Alistair Overeem, and somebody else had a K1 title, maybe with the Heroes title. All right, we got Mr. Muhammad. I don't know what this guy's doing here. Actually, this ain't Muhammad. This is some homeless guy. So we're gonna have to exit out of this meeting because this shit's weird.
Yeah, we don't have anything. Go away, sir.
How you doing, Muhammad? I can't hear you, bro. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. This is Mr. Muhammad Zubair, really good guy. I'm just fucking around. He's an awesome person. Lucky enough to go to Rizin 13 while me and Teep to the Junk just sat here and watched it on TV and held hands.
Yeah, I'm really fucking jealous. I hope you get a rash.
Yeah. I did. I got chicken pox.
Oh,
yeah. I hope the shingles come for you next. How you doing, Muhammad?
Good. How you guys doing?
All right, man. And I don't know if you guys had met. Of course, Mr. Teep to the Junk here can't have a video because he doesn't have that budget yet, I guess.
No, I'm pacing back and forth outside my house so I don't disturb my wife.
Oh, okay.
Real. I don't feel, martial arts is one thing, but happy wife, happy life. So
That's right. Muhammad knows as good as anybody, right?
Yep.
I don't know shit.
I'm just semi-disturbing the neighbors by pacing back and forth.
You're gonna have to speak a little bit louder there, Mr. Teep.
Yeah. So in honor of Rizin, I'm drinking Sapporo tonight.
Well, that's what you sent me on Twitter.
Yeah, your picture. I was all excited. What the fuck?
All right, so Mr. Muhammad, we know that you ain't got all the time in the world, as nobody does, and let's start with the UFC. What fights stand out to you on that UFC card? I could pull up the card.
Well, just in a nutshell, I think main and co-main are obviously the strongest and kind of I hate to say it, but the only ones on this card.
Review. It's kind of rough. We did talk earlier. Go ahead.
Yo, guys, I just want to interject and say fans should absolutely call weak cards weak, because if there's no pressure on promotions, they hand us bullshit. And like this would be a good TV card. Like it would be fun. You don't have to know everyone. But right. Insult. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, I feel like they spend so much time, you know, and this ain't just a knock on the UFC, but, you know, they spend so much time trying to put title fights on cards. When you look back and some of the best pay-per-views, you know, Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor wasn't a title fight, right? So they try so hard to put title fights that you end up with Max Holloway against Frankie Edgar, when I'm not sure that that's warranted, number one, but I don't know. I would just rather see interesting matchups. Why couldn't we have had, I mean, you guys saw that Cowboy Cerrone and Justin Gaethje was announced, right?
Yeah.
Like that could headline a pay-per-view for me a lot more than these two cards. Like you put that on there and then, you know, you don't necessarily need a title fight. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, Anderson Silva and the great American hero Nick Diaz, they sold like 600,000 pay-per-view. There was no belt. No belt. And Nick had enough power. It's not really like widely spoken of. He had enough power to get pay-per-view points on a non-title fight.
Well, and you know, I was looking back at some pay-per-views last night, and a couple of ones from maybe a year or two ago. When was Max Holloway? When did he win the interim title? About a year ago? 2 years ago?
2016.
Okay, so when that happened, he had headlined a card, and he fought Jose Aldo for the interim title. There was a really good card. I think it was the first one, maybe it was the second one, but it was
interim was against Pettis, and then the unified was against Aldo in Detroit.
Both of those I remember being good cards, and there was no official title up for stake, but they were real good cards that, you know. But I do agree, Mr. Junk. You know that you know, we got to call out bullshit cards, and you know, I mean, we've seen them all over the place, but it's like you can't expect the fans to pay $75 for something that, like you said, would be a good TV card, right?
That's the thing, is everything is relative to price. So like Rizin, they deliver visually, the whole show is interesting and compelling. So they can, you know, if they want some money for it, that's okay, because they put on a lot of effort for the fans. With like KSW and Combat Americas and Bellator, you know, they're on DAZN for me over here. So $20 a month. I didn't pay the $100 for a year. I've just been paying the $20 a month because I was late on a payment. Like I wasn't grandfathered in at 10. But it's whatever. I'm happy to pay it, you know. But for me, so I'm looking at the value is off the charts, because I'm seeing all this shit plus all this top level boxing, all for that same subscription price. But $65, $70 for two good fights, like good fights, but two good fights and a bunch of good fighters who no one knows about, that don't have a story going into it. That's not a lot of entertainment value. Even fighters. They have
I mean, hey, and you know, I mean, as we get into here, I'm showing the card up here if you guys can see it. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
And Muhammad, I wanted to ask you, you're in Canada, you use DAZN as well in Canada?
DAZN. Yeah.
Because then Fight TV is also North American thing. I haven't ESPN Plus too much. You know, I did see that like last week they had it on big ESPN. I wish they would do more of those cards. You know, the digital thing, I've had some problems with that. But anyway, I mean, you know, for people that could see, we got some names here, but I know that you wanted to talk about the Olivier Aubin-Mercier against.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good one, because I was extremely impressed with Arman Tsarukyan. He was so sick. He made his debut in like his previous fight was his UFC debut, but he did
actually well. The reason why we had you on today was just to say Tsarukyan, because we couldn't. So, you know, I was like, let's call Muhammad. He's got to know, right? But no, so he fought. Who did he fight last? His debut was.
against Islam Makhachev.
That was his
Habib's
debut?
Habib's teammate, who also has extremely strong wrestling, and he's just been very obviously not as dominant as Habib, but he's slowly been working his way up, and he's extremely dominant. And to make a last-minute debut against somebody like that and look as good as he did was just a really, really impressive start off to his UFC career, even though he lost.
When I talked to you a little bit earlier, Makhachev was 17-1, right?
Yeah.
So and I do remember that fight. It was a real tough wrestling match. So I mean, I don't know if you want to say anything here, Mr. Teep to the Junk, but I'll go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I just want to ask Muhammad for an unreasonably specific prediction on how that fight ends.
Most likely, just because how good Olivier is, I think it would just be a dominant decision, because I know he I don't know
Olivier,
no, sorry, for Tsarukian.
Oh, okay.
But he's just Olivier is too well-rounded, and he's tough enough, and he's filled out his frame as well, that I don't really see him get finished or smashed.
Well, I mean, Olivier kind of made a burst onto the scene, and I feel like maybe I might have missed his last fight, but I feel like he's not looked that good in the last 2 or 3 fights. Would that be correct?
Yeah. Like, he looked great.
Tough matchups, but what is he, the Canadian gangster?
Yeah. He's like really funny on social media, and he's got a really specific look going for him too now.
Yeah, Teep to the Junk. If you didn't know, that's why Muhammad moved to Canada. Follow Olivier Aubin Mercier all over Toronto.
There's nothing wrong with being a stalker. It's all right, man.
Oh, no, it's perfect. Okay. We're going to get to a real stalker later when we talk about Vitaly Simatov, right? That's the stalker mode.
I can't wait. Hey, go. So keeping it moving, Muhammad, Cyborg's fight. What's going to happen in that fight?
I think we see Cyborg get back to true fashion against Felicia Spencer. Again, I was very impressed with Felicia's last fight, but Megan would have been completely demolished by Cyborg if she fought her even now. So I don't put too much stock in it, and I see a really dominant destruction for Cyborg.
Well, let me ask you this: did you watch much of Felicia in Invicta?
No, I didn't see much of her at all.
She's got good. I think it's judo background, I believe, right? And so, I mean, depending on what Cyborg's head is like, you know how it is. Some fighters get knocked out, their head is weird. You just never know. If she's too tentative and Felicia's able to get her down, she's a tough, big girl. I mean, I've seen quite a bit of her Invicta fights. I think I've seen 4 or 5 of them. She's 7-0. Anyway, if I had to pick, what would you say, Teep? Who would you pick in that fight?
I think it's going to be a big left hook or right straight or a combo of the two, or even a little Boss Rutan uppercut, left hook, right straight.
Boss Rutan.
Cyborg going to slam her in the hurt locker. But in fairness to the other young lady, I haven't seen her fight. I just know what Cyborg's still capable of. She's not. If she's not in her peak, she's not out of her prime yet. She's still a badass lady.
Well,
let me ask you, Muhammad, is she going to go to Bellator? Is she going to go fight Julia Budd and Olga Rubin and all these people over in Bellator? You think that's going to happen?
Yeah, I think so, because I really just don't see, especially with the games Dana has recently, well, he always plays games, but his whole thing, Cyborg's scared of losing to Nunes, even though Cyborg probably has been the best loss that I've seen ever. Like, in terms of, she didn't look good losing, but afterwards, the way she handled it,
she was cool. She wanted to fight again. She was like, that tomato, he's so full of shit. She was calling for the fight loudly. Nunes said, I'm never going back to 145. Cyborg, basically, they must have got caught when she was going to fight out her contract, and then suddenly, everyone's reporting what Dana says. If that means anything out of context. It doesn't mean anything at all. He could be saying anything.
Yeah, and it's part of their negotiation tactic.
Well, see, and that's where I was really confused, because I thought I missed something, but you just described it perfectly, Teep, that it was like, I thought I missed an event or something weird, because it was like, I remember Nunes knocking out Cyborg. Could have happened to Nunes the way that fight went down. It was kind of just go in the middle and throw, right? She did land good shots on her, but all I heard from Cyborg, I follow her on Twitter, in Instagram, I believe, too. And all I heard from her was that she wanted the rematch, the immediate rematch. All I've heard from Dana White is that she doesn't want the rematch. As much as yesterday I was listening to him saying she doesn't want the rematch. That's all he kept saying yesterday.
He's just negotiating through the press because she's fighting out her contract.
Yeah, well, you know what? To a fan, it's like I'm listening to the fighter. You know, if you tell me that you want a rematch, if you guys fought, and you know, Muhammad, you're sitting here saying I want a rematch, I'm listening to the fighter. I'm not going to go listen to somebody else. You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know, I'm going against the grain though, and I think that I don't know if Cyborg is. I think that she's checked out of the UFC. Honestly, I think that you know they're trying to offer her this one fight contract. Is what Dana White was saying. I think she's checked out of the UFC. I honestly think Felicia Spencer's going to take her down, and I think we're not going to see a very good version of Chris Cyborg.
I hope you're wrong, but who knows?
I hope I'm wrong too, because I honestly am a fan of Chris Cyborg. I just, from what she said, and I know you guys all know when you're working somewhere that you don't want to work, it's
it's different,
right?
Yeah, it's like that Nate Diaz RDA fight all over again when Nate was just like not mentally there. He had the tools. Obviously a bad matchup, but
really good point. Really good point because he looked horrible in that fight. All right, so keep going to the main event. Max Holloway against Frankie Edgar, who this was supposed to happen, and for fans that probably are in the know, Frankie Edgar fought Brian Ortega and lost, and so he lost out on his title shot. Who did he beat last, Muhammad? Do you know?
Frankie?
Yeah.
Cub Swanson.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
Holloway coming off Dustin Poirier lost, but that was 155. Teep, what do you got? Teep to the junk. What do you got for the prediction on that one?
Well, I think Max is good, but you know, I give like I don't know if Edgar should be the next guy in line, but he's definitely hyper elite, and he's one of those pound guys. Like being the smaller guy doesn't mean anything to him. Like he's just okay. I got speed, my angles. I'm giving like a maybe 45% chance that Edgar clips him, drops him, and manages to either ride out to a UD or actually finish him. Like not a favorite, but only the slightest underdog.
Let me ask you this: is it because Max Holloway going back down in weight, and we've seen him have some trouble with weight? Is that part of why you're saying that?
Maybe a little bit that, but mostly because Frankie Edgar's skill set, his hands, and his use of angles, like he did with Mendez. Obviously, Mendez like totally different stylistically, but he's able to change speeds and hit on the half speed and all this stuff. That Holloway, I don't know, he's like a machine gun, but that's not always the best thing. I think Edgar has enough power that he might well clip him. I wouldn't bet on that fight. Like I have it almost even, slight advantage Holloway. He's younger and less shop worn. You know what I mean? But Edgar is one of the greats. You know,
and I can't argue with you. And even though Edgar is getting older, I was watching the thing, you know, the story of how they got here or whatever. And it seems like every time they tried to count out Edgar, he'd come back with an impressive win, right? Lose a split decision and come back. So I'd agree, but I personally, I'm taking Max Holloway. I think he just boxes him up at range. And I think Edgar is going to try to take him down. Max Holloway has really good takedown defense. Unless we see a problem with the weight, I don't see this fight as close as you do, with all respect. Muhammad, what do you got?
I was going to say that Max by a wide margin, but just hearing Teep's breakdown of it, I got to agree, man, because I don't think we've seen Max face somebody with that level of wrestling pedigree. Like I just looked through, and like Lamas was the last one, but he doesn't use his wrestling as much as he could. So yes, it's a smaller guy, but like Frankie is not just a striker. He can mix it up really, really well. And Jose is a nightmare matchup for Frankie, just like Max was a nightmare matchup for Jose. But I think styles make fights, and this is going to be a perfect example of that. I would say it's like very close to even. Wow. Now that I've reconsidered.
Well, I'm putting you guys both to the fire. So, Teep, you said 45%. Gun to your head. Who are you taking? Betting man.
Oh, well, I mean, if I had to place a bet on one, I'd bet on Max, but it would be a toss-up. 45%, basically, you know, if they fought 10 times or 20 times.
Well, I just got to
one edge to Max. Really that close.
I just got to tell you, both of you guys I wish I'd have let you guys go first without saying anything, because you guys both made really good points. And I did say every time someone counts out Edgar, he comes back, and I am counting him out. He is 10 years older. you know, he is shorter, but Muhammad, you made a really good point about how he switches things up. He's not just wrestler, not just a striker. He's really fast at his transitions. So he might throw a check right hook at you and go for the takedown. And, you know, honestly, when's the last time we saw Max in with a guy who could wrestle and switch it up as
right
on that level?
Exactly.
And he's very fast for, you know, that his speed, like it's like a Patricio Pitbull is like a more extreme version of that where
right.
He's a fast little guy. He's the smallest damn featherweight just about in the division. He's like 5'5" and some shit.
Yeah.
Can we pause for just a second? Hey, Mom. Hold on a second. We'll pause for a second.
Well, while he's doing that, it's nice to meet you, Muhammad.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, man. I see you on Reddit all the time.
Yeah, I'm all over Reddit. They give me a lot of shit, but I get trolled by the. It's not just.
My bad. I just had to stop the dogs from barking, so we didn't. We heard.
No big deal.
But I just wanted to pause so I knew we had a cut section. And so Muhammad, back to the fight. You're taking once again gun to the head, betting man. Who you gonna take?
I have to take Max, even though we haven't seen, like, it's easy to look like you have phenomenal cardio when you're just standing and striking. That fight with Ortega was a very easy on the cardio fight because they just stood there, and Ortega, being a jiu-jitsu guy, just had, like, you know, not good takedowns and all of that stuff. But to be completely fair, Frankie didn't look phenomenal against a severely diminished Cub Swanson in his last fight. Like, it went to a decision, and Cub is on like a pretty big skid. So having said that, I think Frankie is like, we will see the age having caught up with him. And I say Max by a pretty clear unanimous decision.
And see,
Just
you guys
tried
to make me change my mind, only to still.
Yeah, we're gonna stick it to you, man. We'll never let you live this down. We'll be like, remember that time?
Yeah, I know. This is why I don't pick fights. I'm gonna send a little message to Mr. DeanHoneyBadger real quick and get him on here. But was there anything else on that card that you know about, Muhammad? I didn't even look at the early prelims or the prelims. Is there anything else there?
Come on, guys. Let's move to Rizin.
Well, let me. I got to get Dean on here, so I just wanted to see if there was anything else while I was doing that, and I'm gonna pull up the Rizin card.
Yeah, Eric Koch looks almost unrecognizable now at welterweight. He looks huge. He's got, like, obviously the tattoos are a big change as well, but he looks really healthy, really thick, solid, and tight. So
let me ask you, Muhammad, who looked better when they moved up to 155? Because both guys looked like skeletons. They were like Crypt Keeper thin. So, because like Connor obviously looked like utter shit.
Yeah.
You know, he was making fun of his alien head and shit. But when he cut that much weight, he was looking a little bit alien head. He's a unit now. So who do you think wears lightweight better? Because both guys look half dead back in the day.
Eric, man, Eric looks really, really healthy and not like. Yeah, because we saw Connor. His frame is way too small for welterweight, but Eric kind of reminds me of RDA moving up to welterweight. Like, he looks he's actually filled in, yeah. And I haven't heard about him for so long, so I think he actually did it properly and put it on instead of just eat a bunch of steaks and not cut weight.
That's interesting. I got a question for both you guys real quick, just while we're on the weight thing right before we go to Rizin here. Do you think if Max Holloway had a year to be at 55 like Poirier has, that fight would have ended different?
I don't know.
I think that's a tough fight stylistically, as much size, because, you know, going up in weight is a relief of sorts. Yeah, guys fill out later and they get more used to training at that weight, but their training partners aren't really sparring. Like, none of these gyms are so deep that you only spar with guys your exact size who cut the max to make the weight you cut the max. No, I mean, he's been sparring guys who are up there, you know, like he's got a feel for it. I've done it as a pathetic gym rat, you know, just like going and sparring guys, give a guy 12 pounds, you're like, holy shit, this guy sucks. I have to respect this. This is not the same. So I just think that stylistically, you know, styles make fights more than people appreciate in MMA, where it's so complicated. Temperament, styles, fight IQ. I mean, the reason I have Fedor as the greatest fighter of all time because he checked every single box, and then he was humble. You know, but he checked every single box. It wasn't any one thing. He had everything as good or better than anyone in the sport all at the same time for his prime. It's crazy. But like I think styles makes fights. You know, he had tough fights. Certain guys gave him way more trouble than others, and that's true of everyone. So I think Max, it's a tough one for him.
That's an interesting way to phrase it. Let me ask you, Muhammad, real quick while he was on that subject, just because we'll wait on Dean here for a minute, even if we got to cut a little bit of this out. But because who is your greatest of all time and why? Is it similar reasons as what he just said? Because that's an interesting way as to why Fedor is the greatest for him.
Yeah, it would have to be Fedor, just because, you know, taking all comers with that open rule set and seeing him, like, that was MMA in its truest form. Seeing like how you can, and he would use different tool sets every time. He would, but then, like, you know, the Crow Cop thing was a masterclass in mixed martial arts, not in stand up, not in wrestling, just in putting everything together. So I just think it's next to impossible to argue against the Fedor thing, especially with John Jones looking as dominant as he is, but having pissed hot like what 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times.
I just can't count John Jones.
Jones did what he did in a non-testing environment. It's hard to make an argument for him to be in the discussion, at least in the discussion, with someone like Fedor, because he has beaten a lot of names, but he's beaten them kind of, you know, not all those guys were on the juice, and now they're straight up letting him take the gear, making excuses for him, talking about pulsing shit with stuff with a short half-life. No one would talk about if the media weren't just like licking the UFC scrotum at all opportunities.
And so I could already tell the critics and stuff would just say, oh, well, Fedor was juiced up or whatever. I don't ever remember Fedor getting popped for anything. Number one, you could say what you want about testing, but my point is that John Jones, we know that he has something in his system, and we know that the other person is clean, right? For how many fights now? Like you said, that's the part that kills me. Me and Teep were talking about it earlier, and it's like, hey, if why don't you allow the other guy to have that many picograms too, right?
Right.
The way I try to suss it out is like, okay, if they're in a non-testing environment, then all bets are off, and the record is what it is. For someone like Jones, like, I give him full credit fighting guys who we know have also partaken. Like, so Vitor, full credit, full 100% credit. One of his best wins. A fight like Gustafsson, well, I don't think Gustafsson has any PD baggage, so it was a very close fight. So almost not a win in my mind. Cause I'm like, if you weren't cheating, if you
would have lost that. Yeah.
Stuff on those NFL grade designer steroids, then why? You know, then you probably get your ass kicked in that fight. You know, and it's like Gus serious. He gave DC probably his hardest fight. Even the older DC, you know, obviously DC is not in his physical prime anywhere near, but still, you know, that's a serious accomplishment. That, you know, he's one of those. Gus is one of those guys that won't be remembered as fondly as he probably should. He gave two of the most accomplished fighters some of their hardest work. That's respect right there, you know.
Oh, and I hear you. And I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook, and I have limited experience with steroids, just some oral steroids for a back injury that I had. And I can tell you that even after I stopped taking them, I had the effects of them for weeks. And I'm hearing with some stronger anabolic ones that you could have the effects for years, right? I mean, these oral ones was like, I went from being really injured to, I was all right. I could run, I could play basketball, I could do everything as long as I have these oral steroids, right? I mean, I was unstoppable. As soon as I'd stop taking them, it would wear down, but I still felt it for a few weeks. And those oral steroids, prednisone or whatever, is nothing compared to these ones that these rich guys got, the NFL players and shit, right? And which one of his brothers, wasn't one of his brothers busted for PEDs too?
I thought it was both of them.
I think
at separate times.
Right.
One of the brothers had that thing with the fake weed. What's it called?
With what was that? You speak up, please.
Oh, one of the brothers, I think, which I have no idea why you would do that if you weren't a broke ass. I think they also both. I'm sorry. Was I too quiet?
Yeah, you were quiet.
Okay, yeah. So I think one of the brothers had an incident where he like overdosed on fake weed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. One of them's retired now. I know that. One of them's still playing.
But it's also like, you know, the turnable, like Mir has the same management, Malky and his brother,
Mm.
On the same damn steroids. Like, let's not be little fucking babies. People can still be fans, but you got to recognize when a guy's on the gear, it's like, sorry, he just is. Maybe you can say everyone is, but you can't be like, no.
Hey.
Yeah, the selectiveness is really annoying.
Yes, it's a yes for Jones. So he's no
Yeah,
baby.
because everybody was mocking Frank Mir for coming up with that kangaroo meat excuse.
Rightly mocking him, but then the PR machine kicked him to Jones. Just
right.
like when Andersauce got caught on 4 banned substances, right? 2 medications, steroid, and a weight cutting agent.
Yeah.
Nick Diaz, a few pot metabolites. They can't even prove he smoked in competition.
Yeah.
They tried to give him 5 fucking years, and they gave Anderson a year retroactive because the UFC Dana came out like, we have Anderson's back. And then, of course, the inverse is we throw Nick Diaz under the bus because he was a Strikeforce star, and we are resentful of Strikeforce forever.
Right.
We have elephantine memory for perceived flight. The Strikeforce, by existing, Scott Coker was anti-UFC.
Yeah.
Because that's how insecure all that shit is. Fuck those guys. Bellator, absolutely the balls right now.
Well, and my thing is I'm glad we have this discussion because everyone's going to say, oh, well, Japan and Russia and these places, like everyone's all juiced up. Well, you know what? Like, number one, we don't know that for sure. What we do know is that John Jones is allowed to compete while he has metabolites of performance-enhancing drugs in his system. That's what we know, and we know that his opponent has to be clean, right?
Right. So you just take some points off. You like put some asterisks up there, and like if you're talking all time, like people with scandals, that's got to be taken into account. Like GSP, they never caught him. People are like, look, he has HGH cut. Okay, but he did get caught greasing. They were rubbing Vaseline on his shit when he's fighting BJ Penn. So for me, even though he's probably the most accomplished cage fighter of all time, separate from the ring where Fedor's the king, you know, that still has to, you still have to kind of be like, well, you guys were cheating. It's not an accident if you're rubbing Vaseline on a guy's back. Fuck that. That's not an accident. That's just some bullshit cheating, and just like PDs.
Well, and just like eye poking, right? Everyone talks about DC because of a couple eye pokes. John Jones has done a career of eye pokes. I encourage people to go back and watch the Rampage Jackson fight where he poked his eye. Rampage was looking at the ref. You guys remember this? He was looking at the ref, and then he poked his eye again while the ref was looking at it. Nothing even happened. No points, nothing.
That motherfucker was walking like an Egyptian versus Teixeira, man. He straight up gave him snake style kung fu right to the optical. It was awful. He's probably a large part of why they changed the rules. You can't extend your fingers out anymore because they were like, that lanky armed motherfucker won't stop doing it. So we need to make that a foul for even trying, because otherwise no one can close the gap on him. He's like, I will poke your eyes. Like, I'm trying to. I want my fingers in your eyes. But anyway,
I'm gonna send out a new link. That way our time doesn't expire here, and plus that way we could cut that one right there, and I'll cut that up a little bit. So I'm gonna send out a new link to both you guys real quick. What's that?
You're gonna chop out the part we got a phone because I was chatting to him.
I'll chop that part up, and we'll kind of just do where we talked about the UFC. I mean, we'll include that last little stuff, but I'm gonna send out a new link so I could send a new link to Dean in case he's coming. But even if he's not, that way it gives us enough time to talk about Rizin, because I know it's like 40. Yeah, see, it's 40. Gift. They gave me a gift. Running out of time. We've removed the 40-minute time limit on your group meeting. Never mind.
Nice.
That's fucking crazy. I was just about to change it. And so anyway, let me just.
All right, I'll see you guys in a minute.
No. You don't have to be. Teep, stay here.
All right, I'm here.
I just wanted to stop for a second so I knew where to cut it. But yeah, right as I was about to fucking go send a new link and shit, it was all thing popped up and it's all a gift from Zoom.
They're listening to us, man. They're listening.
And so that way I don't have to send a new one out. So, but let's start with we'll start with the Rizin. Let me screen share. Let me know when you guys see it, and then we'll start right there, and that's where I'll cut it. Okay. And then when Dean's punk ass gets here, we'll talk shit to him.
Yeah, man, he's fucking useless.
Yeah, because he read the message like 10 minutes ago. So when he gets here, we're all talking shit to him. He's not the honey badger or the honey badge. We're gonna call him like fucking.
Let's call him the wrong name on purpose. Keep calling him like Earl or something close to his name, but not his name, and just not acknowledge doing it.
What was the little bitch ass rabbit's name from Winnie the Pooh?
Oh, fuck.
Remember, I used to watch that. That was a long time ago, man. I am old and crusty.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking that just because the honey badger thing, but I was like, I remember there was that bitch ass rabbit. You know what I mean? So
Let's all call him Dean and then not acknowledge it.
Yeah,
No,
just call him Dean, bitch ass rabbit.
Bean Honeybadger. Bean, what's up, Bean?
What's up, Dean? Hey, Dean. We're just trashing him. I'm gonna fucking send him this clip. It was 8:15 when I sent him that thing, so that was 17 minutes ago. Anyway, let's just go on to Rizin. I'm gonna share this and let me know that you guys could see it. That way, I know that where we can start, where I can clip it. Okay.
Okay.
Can we all?
I see it. Well, yeah.
Okay, we only got half it. What's up?
Oh yeah, there it is.
All right, just make sure you speak up just a little bit, Teep, because Muhammad's real loud, and I know I'm probably loud as fuck.
Fuck you guys. Okay, yeah, no problem. How's that?
That's good. So the first match, I don't believe either of these guys has ever fought at Rizin. Muhammad, would you like to correct me? I mean, Hideki, I know hasn't. I don't know about Watabi though.
I don't recognize them.
Let's skip to the people we know well.
No,
okay.
That's fine. I just, before I even started that, I wanted to make sure, okay, I don't want to show anything besides the thing. All right, so you guys can see the card right there though, right?
Yes.
All right, so Rizin tomorrow night. It's going to be fucking awesome. Starts at 11 o'clock for me, Mountain Time. You guys, poor bastards, 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, we'll go to that. I mean, the first fight usually sets the tone of the night, but both these guys, I believe, are newcomers. So without knowing much about them, let's go to King Reina and Stephanie Egger. Muhammad, we'll start with you. What do you think? By the way, let me just point out that this is a 63 kilogram, lowest weight that King Reina has ever fought at. About 138 pounds.
Yeah, I take King Reina in this just because I think having to come in lighter will force her also to be a little bit leaner and have worked out more. Because, you know, I know they're not going to do the wrestling style weight cutting where she's just going to be like depleted. I think this is just going to force her to be overall fitter coming into this fight, which is going to be a good look because she does carry. Before this, she did have quite a high like body fat percentage. Well, don't quote me on that, but like still you could see the extra weight that she was carrying and you could see it in the fight style that she would tire.
Talking to Teep about this earlier though, I honestly believe that some of that extra weight may have made her stronger. It seemed like her judo used to be better than it has shown in the last few fights. At Rizin 13, did she fight when you were there? You remember?
No. No.
You didn't even see her live. All right, Mr. TeepToTheJunk, what do you got on that King Reina Stephanie Egger? I don't know much about Egger, to be honest with you guys.
So Egger's 3-1 pro. Her best win is on the Italian regional scene against 5-2 Mara Barella. She beat a 1-0 Judith Ruiz and lost to 0-1 Alexa Connors.
What promotions were that? What promotion was she in last?
So that was in Invicta. She lost to Alexa in Alexa's pro debut, and then she had 3 canceled bouts, which must have been awful for her, poor thing. And then she won at Buddy MMA Clash 2, no joke, Buddy MMA, against 5-4-2 Eva Kiskonen, something to that effect. So
all right, get ready to repeat some of that information because we're going to welcome in our guest. Hey, Dean, can you hear us? Dean?
Answer us, damn it.
Answer us, Dean. We're coming to your house, Dean. You don't answer us.
Quit playing hard to get, Honey Badge. Where's he at?
He's here, but he's not answering us. We're going to his house. Load up the car.
Have to turn his mic on. I think that's the default setting when you load Zoom.
Yeah, sometimes it takes audio a minute. Can't hear you, Dean.
He probably can't see us. He may not even know.
Oh, you know what? Because I'm sharing the screen, huh?
Get some flags, do it in semaphore or something like that, you know.
Can't hear you, Dean. Let's pin him. Let's pin the video on Dean and let's just watch him for a minute in the darkness. He's as dark. He's in as much darkness as you are, Teep. Hell, me and Muhammad are all in the light here, you know, shining bright.
Guys, be ready to minimize your window if he gets up to something that he doesn't want us to see.
I know. I'm getting a little bit worried here.
If he doesn't know that the camera's on.
I know. I'm getting a little worried because I was looking at him and I'm like, Dean, and we were all calling him out.
Yeah, I don't want to accidentally catch a glimpse of.
Oh, you know what's funny is that I could see your reflection in the window.
Podcast. There he is. Look at this lake.
He's got at least he's got light. Teep. Hey, Mr. TeepToTheJunk, at least he's got some light.
Oh, you want me to put my thing on? You want to see my stupid ass face?
No, let us just look at your dog licking your face forever. Absolutely.
Done it now. Hold on. Let me see if I can turn my video on. I'm in the darkness here.
Oh shit, that picture was like 10 years ago of you. What the hell? That's what was happening.
Last week, brother. That was last week. I aged that quickly. Almost.
Let's see when Dean could hear us.
Dean, yeah.
Dean, can you hear us? We can't hear you, Mr. Dean.
Check 1, 2. Siblings. Dean.
Dean.
You need a sign, like, you know, like the AMA sign for red. You need, like, hold up a sign like, Dean, turn your shit on, dude.
Right. Okay, even Teep got the light here. Dean, can't even hear him. What the hell?
Did his couch just slide into
time?
He's still troubleshooting his lamp.
I know. It's like, who cares about the damn light? Let us hear you, you know?
Oh, I see light.
He found the switch to the light. Fucking hooray, Dean.
Dean, yeah. Don't know we're talking about it.
He's gonna fucking close his laptop on us. Can you hear us?
Look at that angelic face. Dean, turn your shit on.
Can you hear us, buddy?
I better connect.
Can you hear me? You didn't have something plugged in. Look, he knows it. Can you hear me? Oh shit! Look, this motherfucker's got a mic too.
A real mic, dang.
Can you hear us? Check audio, Dean.
Motherfucker, you upstaging us? Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on, man. You're off. This podcast goes up to 11, man. You got to turn that on.
Let's just let Dean not have a mic, right? And he'll just sit there and talk shit about him.
All right, there we go. Is that better?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, Dean?
Gentlemen?
I feel bad because we've been sitting here trashing you for like the last 20 minutes.
Good. Like Zoolander over here with his computer.
It was more the lamp than anything, right? I was like, let's just hear the guy because fucking Teep's over there under some kind of light like he's a surgeon, right?
I forgot I still have my camera, and I thought I have the cute thumbnail. I'm about to put it back. Don't make me insecure now.
Dean, I don't know if you know Muhammad, but anyway, who cares, right? We all know each other now. We had really just started with the Rizin card, but before we start with that, let's get your quick UFC picks. Muhammad, I'm going to let you take it away on that guy's name. Just the 3 bouts that we covered.
Armin Sarukian versus what's his name? Olivier Aubin Mercier. So that's the number 1 fight that I'm looking out for. I pick Armin. He's just gonna look good.
What do you think?
And yeah.
I didn't pick a side. I don't know who they are.
Yeah, we know that. You barely know who you are.
No one knows who I don't. Yeah, I don't have a clue.
I know. Well, what do you think, Dean? Just quick picks on these ones because
it's not the strongest star power on that main card. But I think they're pretty competitive fights. I think OAM will probably grind out a decision at home.
You know, it's interesting that you said that. That was the first comment from just about everybody is it's not the strongest card, right? And I mean, it kind of sucks. Was there, before we move on to the co-main and the main, was there anything else on that card that stood out to you? I mean, Jocko, but I don't know if he's in that much.
Oh, that big heavyweight, Tanner Bozer, he's fighting, right?
Oh, okay. Who's he fighting?
Oh, wait a minute.
You might be right. Here, let me pull up the card for you guys. How's that? Like a good host should.
Don't fall asleep when you look at it.
Hey, you just came on video just because Dean was on video, so.
That's right. I'm feeling upstaged. I'm pissed off. He was on
I know.
the couch around.
He didn't have video the whole time. He's been sitting here making us look, me and Muhammad look at a picture of him and his dog. And then Dean comes in and he's all, I got to put my video on. Can't let
My
Dean.
picture's awesome, man. Don't talk shit. Hold on. I'm going to put it back. Look at this.
Look
Dean.
that. You got to have some light. We like it. Alexis Davis against Viviana Rujo. That could be a pretty good fight. Gavin Tucker is the name of it. No, that's a featherweight fight. Who'd you?
No, I think it was canceled.
Yeah, I was joking. That's the one that got canceled.
Fucking guy.
You know, he is a pretty intriguing heavyweight. We'll probably see him soon. That Gavin Tucker fight's pretty good, though. He's fighting a South Korean guy. He showed a lot of heart in that ass beating he took last time.
Why was that fight canceled? Is it because Giacomo Lemos is fucking 80 years old by his pitcher or what?
No, it's because he popped out for steroids.
Those vitamins, bro.
Dick pills.
Let me share my screen real quick so you guys could see what I'm seeing because to me it looks like this guy's pretty old. Check him out right there. Look at that.
I just see black space. You're like, oh, wait, where is it? Zoom that in, brother. Those are ants. See, like, these ants are old.
Hey, look, he looks old, doesn't he?
What country is that guy from?
You got to zoom that in, man. I'm on a phone screen. I can't see
All right,
it.
I got you.
And her Bozer looks like
Everyone looks old.
Mose from The Office.
Oh, fuck. We're never going to get through this at this rate. Man, that was too much. All right, here you go. Is that enough for you there, Mr. Teep? He still looks old.
Lemos guy?
Come on, Dean. Fill us in. Who the hell is Lemos?
Yeah, with a name like that, he could be from so many countries. He could be from Brazil. He could be from Cyprus.
So we're all going to admit that we've never all heard of this guy.
Right?
Right?
Yo, with a face like that, he's from like the pages of history. What's up with that?
So we're all admitting that we've never heard of this guy, huh?
But you know,
Muhammad knows that somebody popped hot. That's all we know right now.
Who the fuck are these guys?
We'll be fighting in Japan in like
I'm
2
on
months.
Velcro. I don't know who anyone is. Like,
Who was it that popped, Muhammad? Was it Tanner or was it?
Lemos. Tanner doesn't pop for anything other than oatmeal.
Metamucil, elevated levels of medicine,
Yeah.
pulsing prune juice and shit.
Yeah. So if his name was John Jones, he'd be all right, though, huh?
Just pulsing.
Oh, shit, look, Tanner Boasted called him his bitch-made opponent.
Bitch made opponent. Yeah. I was just reading that.
The Brazilian Viking. This is Teep's favorite fighter. That's why he's not talking right now.
Who's that?
The Brazilian Viking.
Giacomo Lemos.
That's my dog right there. No, I don't know a thing about him, but
Nobody
there's a lot
does.
of fighters that I don't know anything at all about. And there are also a lot of marginal ones. So
He's
it's all
6-0, and we're going to release this, and
Wow.
that's why Dean's not talking, because
I might have to fight him someday if I keep getting fatter.
you know what? He ain't got that much time left, bro, so just keep running for a little while. You'll be all right.
Why did they gray? Did they Photoshop him gray? Did they use like the face app?
I don't know. Is it just me, or this guy's 6-0, and he's
No, no.
30
Okay,
years old?
look him up on. Look him up.
How old are you, Dean?
Old enough to party.
Okay. How old does that guy look to you? Like he's partying?
That picture, ooh.
It's like
30s Brazilians, you gotta check their birth certificates though. I fought against a guy. I swear, this guy was fighting one of my 18 and under kids, and like his kids were there watching him compete in the 18 and under division. This guy drove himself to the 18 and under division. It's like Little League baseball with some of these guys.
And some kid from Cuba.
What's the guy's name again?
Giacomo Lemos.
Zach, look him up on SureDog. His picture is much more recent. So I think his white hairs are him dyeing it just so he can fill in the whole Viking look, if that's the nickname that he's going by.
Look him up on Interpol.
Cruise in that Hitman movie.
This guy's 6-0, so we better not talk too much shit because he's gonna find us. I'm telling you guys, especially because he popped and Muhammad's stuck and talking all that shit about him.
Oh,
Yeah. Damn.
I'm gonna message him.
That doesn't even look like the same dude.
He's ready for KSW.
Yo, no shit. That does not look like the same dude. you know.
Yeah, the Google picture is really misleading. The headshot, the UFC one.
Holy shit.
Let's see who we
This
fought.
guy's fought in AFC last few fights. What the hell is Asperza FC? Anyone ever heard of that?
Nope.
Yeah, it's dude, it's actually pretty solid. They used to be free. They had a lot of ex-UFC vets.
Is it a Brazilian organization?
It is, man. It's wild.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to check it out because I've heard of this San Jose super fight stuff. But yeah, I never heard of the Asperza. But geez, they've had at least 57 events, probably more now. All right, well, we spent enough time on that guy, I think.
Let's get to the main two fights.
All right, well, I was just trying to get Dean's goddamn predictions because, you know.
Holloway, Edgar.
Dean, Cyborg, and fucking Cyborg and Felicia Spencer.
I think Cyborg's jiu-jitsu is good enough. If she gets taken down, she's not going to get tapped right away. So that's a long time. 3 rounds is a long time to not engage Cyborg, to stay away from a firefight. I think at some point she's going to catch Spencer and at least hurt her, if not bank rounds. Probably get the finish on her.
You're not worried about her mental state after being knocked out, being cautious?
No, not at all. She's one of the best in the world. And
I think we all picked Cyborg pretty unanimously, right? Teep, you picked her too?
Oh, yeah, she's going to kill her, I think. Like it's going to be a very brutal finish when the end comes.
I might have tried to act like I picked Spencer, so just in case it happens, you know, I could get some glory out of it, right? But all right, main event, Max Holloway and Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar finally getting the shot that he was supposed to get before he lost to Brian Ortega, of course. How do you see this one going down, Dean? This is the Dean show, by the way.
Yeah, this is a good fight, man. It's a good main event. It's just kind of weird on the timing. You know, Frankie's a little late in his career. I think he's going to test Max's takedown defense early. He's going to keep a lot of pressure on him. He's really durable, man, and that's something a lot of people, I mean, they know about Frankie, but maybe they're not giving him a lot of credit in this fight because Max does have a lot of volume. He does finish a lot of guys, so it's going to be a tough one. I think it'll be a back-and-forth fight. I think Holloway's going to get the decision, and then it sounds like they've got Volkanovski there to run in the ring. Pro wrestling style.
Oh, they're gonna call him from the back, with the steel chair.
Yeah.
You know, you pretty much echoed the sentiments of everybody. I think these guys basically almost had me convinced that Frankie Edgar was gonna win, and then they all picked Max Holloway, right? But they, you know, you kind of made the point too that it's like we all look past Edgar, like, oh, this is probably it, but who knows, right? I mean, actually, the closer this fight comes, and the more I've talked about it, the less sure I am. I mean, you could ask these guys. When we first started talking, I was like, oh, Holloway's got this. And they kind of talked me into, you know, something else. How much of a chance would you give Edgar, percentage?
Very good. I wouldn't bet money on this. You know, I think he's a comfortable favorite. Holloway's probably, you know, good. I think he's like a 2-to-1 favorite, 2.5-to-1, and it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, if he gets him down, I don't know if he can finish Max, but he can for sure do a lot of damage, control with the takedowns, win the rounds. Where if it's on the feet, it could be a close fight and go either way. The way Frankie, if he gets you down, there's no question he's getting those rounds. And if it comes down to one where, you know, we should be paying attention from round 1, scoring it, because everyone's gonna be talking about how it was scored. You know, he tends to steal some of those sometimes. We saw that in like the BJ Penn fight, the Ben Henderson fights were kind of
yeah. And that's what I was saying too. Like we could come out with a split decision. That's Frankie Edgar always has those weird fights where it's like, oh, I'd probably count him out, and then it's like some weird split decision. All right. Anything else you want to say about that UFC card? I mean, what would you do? You think it's pay-per-view worthy at all? Is this the most?
Oh, this is one they for sure like released the schedule and how many pay-per-views they needed before they really had a fight ready. They've kind of fallen into that trap a couple times where the date has hit first before there's really something built. So it is what it is. They did the best they could. I think that Nico Price fight they snuck in there's actually pretty good. They got the Canadian fans, a lot of local guys to cheer for. They, you know, did the best they could do. But their peanut butter spread pretty thin this summer. A lot of good fights this summer, but you know, spread out quite a bit.
You know, if I could just say, I'm looking forward to that Stipe and Cormier card. Nate Diaz is on that card, and Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa, right?
Yes.
That's going to be a killer.
We'll see.
What's that?
as planned so far.
Oh, what are you gonna predict, that he's fucking Giacomo or what?
Like Romero and Costa, like, you know, they're gonna have to like get a little John Jones special supplemental permission, and you know, Nate might just. I'm a Diaz fan, more of a Nick fan, but like a Diaz brothers fan. But like, he's temperamental. He might be like, "Fuck you guys, I don't like the way you ran this. I'm out."
Right. Well, hopefully we'll do this. Hopefully we'll do this again before that card. But quick predictions running down the line. Muhammad, I'm gonna ask each of you one fight. Nate Diaz and what was he fight? Anthony Pettis. Who you got?
If it happens, Nate Diaz, controlling range. I think so.
Guys here. All right. Teep versus Daniel Cormier, Part 2.
If any of those happen,
Jeez.
Diaz, Yolo Romero, DC.
Oh, you picked all of them. All right, Teep, what you got? You got an upset for us on that card?
I got DC going. Unless DC has finally hit the age where he's fully declined.
Don't you dare say that.
No, man, guy's 40.
I don't give a damn.
He was past his athletic prime when he started training in MMA because he'd had that weight cut kidney failure. So I mean, he came in at like 250. That guy was cutting to 186, I think, for the '08 Olympics. So he debuted in MMA as a big boy, but he was really good there. And he's gonna beat him up again unless he's like really declined. And I don't know about the others. I think Nate has better cardio than today's 2019 Pettis. But Pettis has stylistic advantages because he can kick really good, and with the range, with punching range, kicking range. So, but you know, you're gonna drop Nate on body kicks. Yeah, he's made of steel. Athlete endurance. So I think Nate has an advantage, but not stylistically. He just has a conditioning and temperamental temperament advantage, if that makes sense.
No, it does, and I would just add with the Yoel Romero thing. We watched Uriah Hall. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Kind of piece up Paulo Costa a little bit with the jab.
Yeah,
I think Costa's a little bit too green for Yoel Romero, unless he's hit that wall too, right? But shout out to Cerebro Vigilante because he was the one who started this horrible thing today of everyone just raining on my parade by saying, "Oh, maybe Satoru Kitaoka has finally hit the wall in his 70th fight." God damn you guys, let me live.
He hit that wall a long time ago.
Don't you know what? He never been submitted. 70th fight, never been submitted once.
I thought he had a stroke before the Will Brooks fight, to be honest with you.
He could have a stroke and he still wouldn't submit.
He wouldn't.
Tell him, Muhammad, ever. All right, so we're gonna move along to this Rizin card. Dean, we kind of touched on it here. Let me screen share. We kind of touched on the first bout that I believe both these guys are newcomers. And, you know, Rizin likes to start the cards with, you know, the first fight kind of sets the tempo, as we all know. So I do expect this to be a good matched fight. I have seen Hideki fight. I can't say much about Watabe, but let's just move on to King Reina and Stephanie Egger. You got thoughts on that fight? They kind of gave some of theirs, but we'll give some more.
Yeah, it's cool to see King down now at a reasonable weight. She was fighting at like 170 or like women's welterweight, something that there wasn't anybody at. I love her style, man. I love that catch heavy style. So I hope we get to see a lot of it. Definitely looking forward to a submission and then her waving some stuffed bears around for no reason.
You know, Teep was telling us about Edgar. What'd you say her record was, Teep?
So she's a 3-1 pro. I don't think she had AMI fights. Her best win was in the Italian regional scene against a 5-2 fighter. That was her second fight. And the fight after that, she lost to an 0-1 fighter, Alexa Connors. And then she bounced back with a win over someone who's 6-1 too.
But we don't really know if she's going to want to stand and trade with King Reina. Nobody really knows that, huh?
I have no idea what she's going to do. I don't know about her. I haven't watched her fight. I predict that she's going to get crushed just based on the fact that she's never fought anyone on Reina's level. And that's a tough thing to suddenly, you know, be in there. It takes a special person. But I don't know her background. She might be a total badass, and I'm an idiot.
No, I think that Reina, as Dean was saying, that she, you know, the moving down in weight, she's going to compete at 63 kilograms, but 137, 138 pounds, the lowest of her career. It's going to make her a lot faster, and her hands are really good standing already. I mean, we've watched her stand and bang with girls that are 6 foot tall, and I think Reina's only 5'3", 5'4". I mean, she's not very tall. But I worry about her judo. Me and Muhammad were kind of talking about that. I worry about if not having that extra weight is going to affect her judo. Because to me, I love King Reina. She's one of my favorite fighters. She hasn't looked as dominant since she's been dropping down in weight intermittently. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, you know what else is interesting is apparently this young lady she's fighting, her base style is judo. She's a Swiss judoka.
Oh, okay. Now he comes with it after we've talked about it the whole time. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, so Joke trains out of Buddy Gym. That's my new favorite gym name.
Let's go to He Ham, who takes on Tomo Misawa, who is the Deep Jules current champion, 49 kilograms, I believe. Seo He Ham has fought Ayaka Hamasaki twice, lost both times, but she fought Jinyu Frey, who Hamasaki fought last time, and she did knock her out. How do you guys see in that one go, Muhammad?
I gotta go with Seo He Ham just by, I guess like the level of competition she's faced.
Dean?
Yeah, they call her Hamderley Silva, and she is made for the Rizin rule set, man. She's going to come out. I hope we see the fist roll. I hope we see some soccer kicks. But I think this is this type of rule set in a ring, you're going to see her really shine at a proper weight class now. You know, I think she was in the UFC, and they just didn't have the right weight classes for women. They have these – for a long time, they had like the Swiss cheese selection of weight classes for women. It was baffling. So now she's in the right spot, man. That women's atomweight division is fire, and she's going to be a great addition to it. I hope we see a soccer kick KO or stomp on somebody's head.
Teep, you got something to add to this fight?
Well, I don't know enough about Masawa, but I'm going to pick Hamdelay by soccer kicks. I'm going to just wish for that.
And there is elbows in this fight. I wanted to ask you guys, do you think that this is going to create the #1 contender, or do you think that the winner of this should have to fight Miyu Yamamoto? Because she beat Conor Asakura, and I recall the CEO saying that was a #1 contender fight. And so I thought Miyu, I personally think that Miyu Yamamoto should get that shot, but maybe the winner of this fight's her in October. What do you guys think?
It's a good idea.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
I know that they brought Ham in, Hamdulillah, as you say. They brought her in to fight, Ayaka, of course, because she gave her some competitive fights. And like I said, she knocked out Jinyu Frey, which Hamasaki didn't do. Anyway, I just hope to see Miyu Yamamoto in that mix because she doesn't have the most time left in her career, and I think she's earned the shot, to be honest with you guys. All right, next we're going to the stalker, Mr. Vitaly Shemetov. He's stalked Rizin for, 18 months?
We all did. A lot of us.
I mean, everyone's helped him. I don't know, Muhammad, how much you've been on Twitter, but Dean, everyone changed their name to Shemetov to Rizin for, it seems like 2 years going on now. Fans to go out and watch some of their videos out in the Siberian forest. They are hilarious. But I'm going to Jake Hune fought a really tough Rocky Martinez, but that was a heavyweight. This is at light heavyweight. Teep, I'm going to you. What do you got in this fight?
Man, I don't know. I know I'm cheering. I don't have anything against Hune, but I'm cheering Shemetov because the story, it's a dream to fight there. He's finally there. His brother took a road trip to Japan, tried to have a meeting. They're meeting the public. I mean, it's the perfect fairy tale ending if he at least wins the fight. But I have no idea who's going to win. I'm too sick to figure it out between the two. But I know who I'm cheering for in this case.
He knows who he's cheering for, he says. All right, Dean, what do you got?
Yeah, I love Shemetov, man. I like what he's bringing, especially these bigger divisions. I think he's going to have a lot of great, exciting fights in Rizin. This isn't a great fight for him, really. Hune's pretty technical. He's probably one of the better guys he's fought. I can see Hune, really bringing it to him and picking up the win here.
Muhammad, before I go to you, let me ask all you guys. I'm a little biased because Mr. Martinez is a personal friend. Full disclosure. Who did you guys think? Well, Muhammad, I don't even want to ask him because he didn't watch. We hang up on him because he didn't watch the last Rizin. Boo this man. But who did you guys? Dean, let me ask you. Did you think Jake Hune beat Rocky Martinez in that fight?
by like just a very narrow margin, but I could respect either either opinion. It was a close fight.
It was a good fight. I would encourage fans to check that one out. I mean, usually Rizin will put up their free fights, a couple weeks after the event. It was a good fight, and I would agree with that. Even, like I said, knowing Mr. Martinez personally, I had no problem either way. I just found it to be a really interesting fight. That's why I wonder what Hume's going to look like at light heavyweight, because he looked really good at heavyweight.
Yeah.
Do we know what he weighed that night? 220, something like that? 225? I'd have to look that up. Anyway, we'll move on to the next one. We got Roberto Satoshi Souza against Mizuto Hirota. Dean, I'm going to go to you on this one first. Well, actually, Muhammad, I didn't get your pick for Semitov and Hume. I'm sorry.
Oh, Hume, just because he's been way more active.
So nobody's going with the stalker. We got the stalker all the way to Rizin just for him to lose to Hume. Sad story. All right, we got Hirota against Satoshi Souza. What do you see in this one, Dean?
Yeah, man. So we got 3 qualifiers for that Grand Prix. It's pretty exciting. I'm excited for that Grand Prix. You've got 3 Japanese legends at lightweight. They're kind of near the end of their career, whether we want to admit it or not. First one up is Hirota. He's probably the most durable out of that group, though. The one that maybe is take least amount of miles. He's got really good striking defense. And Roberto Satoshi won his last fight with his hands, but we know that he's known for his ground game. So it's kind of one of those interesting things, like where is his fight IQ at? What's he still developing? Is he trying to just win this tournament and take the money? Or is he trying to get maybe some more experience on the feet, stand and bang with Hirota a little bit? If he plays the wrong fight IQ, he could definitely throw the fight away. And he's got to have that offensive wrestling to get him down. So it's an interesting dynamic.
I would say that if he fights the fight he fought against Satoru, that he's going to lose, because he almost lost that fight.
Yeah, Hirota's a much better striker.
Yeah, exactly my point. So if he fights the fight he fought against Kitaoka, he's going to lose, that, in my opinion. What do you got there, Teep, for this fight?
Yeah, to Souza, I think we're going to see a little dang at the dang. Like we get I think he's going to just blast the guy.
All right.
I'm probably more familiar with these fighters. I've been have my head so stuck up so far Bellator's backside.
That's okay. You don't have to make excuses for yourself, bro. Scott Coker loves you. We love you. I don't know what he does. But
I feel the love radiating.
Right on. Muhammad, your pick on that one.
D'Souza. D'Souza for me as well.
If I'm right, I'm not cool.
All right, this fight is one of the most interesting fights because it's Tetsuya Kawajiri, legend of the sport, the Crusher, against I'm gonna let someone else say this guy's last name so I don't butcher it too bad.
Okay, Ali Abdul Khalidov. Khalikov, sorry, not D. Khalikov.
I think that Teep looked at this his record and it was really good. I kind of feel like they're throwing Kawajiri to the wolves here to see if fight this fight, but I've seen Kawajiri with his back against the wall before. This is to get to the Grand Prix. What do you guys see here? Muhammad.
Unfortunately, Kawajiri, after the last couple of losses, they've been really tough. And this guy, 7-0, it's already hard enough to pick against Russians, especially this new crop of Russians. So I just don't see it ending well for Kawajiri, and I'm going to go with Ali. And that's not just because I'm Muslim.
Dean, since you're a Muslim, would you agree with that?
I'd say the same. It's been rough for Kawajiri. The good news for him, he's back up at lightweight again. So I think he'll be a little bit more filled out. He's a strong guy. It could be a grindy fight. It could be who gets the takedown. But if any durability comes into play, this could be like a passing of the torch type of card.
You mentioned an interesting thing there before I go to Teep about him going back to lightweight. Was he really serious about going after Horiguchi? Because he was dropping the weight. Like, he was serious about it. And I was like, this guy's crazy, right? For one, I'm not going after Horiguchi no matter what I weigh, right? I don't think any of us are. So, Teep, what do you got in this one?
No, I was just gonna go with Ali, but then I'm looking at who he's fought. His last opponent was 6-1. The one before was 1-1.
Where was this promotion? What promotion was it? Can you speak up a little bit, please?
Yeah, sorry. He was at Fight Night Global, and before that, he was at Golden Team Championship, Pro FC, G Pro, whatever that is, M1 Challenge, Real Street Fighting. He's been all over, but he hasn't fought anyone of Kavajiri's caliber. Although he did fight 26-10 Yuri Ivlev, who's, I mean, obviously experienced, but his best win is probably like his second fight, Joel Alvarez, who was 5-0. But he really doesn't have any high-level wins, so I'm actually going to go with Kawajiri. I think, you know, on paper, it looks like the young guy coming in, and he's a Sanda and Wushu guy, so I'm supposed to cheer for him because he's a Sanda guy. But, yeah, I think Kawajiri's going to take it, and a little bit of extra glory at the end of the career.
I can't argue against the Crusher ever, and nobody will ever ask me to pick against him, so let's just move on. Satoru Kitaoka, again, I believe this is his 70th or 71st fight, never been submitted, but he's also never knocked anybody out. Do you guys know if I'm correct about that?
I don't think
he has 0. Yeah.
Yes, 0, never been submitted, but never knocked anybody out in 70 fights. Have we ever seen a fighter like this guy? I mean, from it, not just his entrances, right? But I mean, just that strange of a, of a record. I mean, usually you get one knockout or you get submitted somewhere. I mean, we saw BJ Penn get submitted for the first time. We talked about Frankie Edgar. He got stopped for the first time. This 71st fight, and this is a hard one for me. Johnny Case has shown some real good things, especially in Rizin. This is another fight. The last 2 fights here are where I think that Dean's soccer kicks are going to come into play if anybody goes down. And that could just change the fight. I mean, Johnny Case goes down in the wrong way, and you got Satoru kicking you in the head. I don't care who you are, So, Dean, I'm going to go to you on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, Johnny Case is a really good fighter. This could be the toughest fight for these Japanese legends here at lightweight. Kitoka's got a lot of miles, and the soccer kicks could come into play. He likes to grapple. That's why we've seen him get a lot of submissions. We've seen him have a lot of control on the ground, but he could get straight blasted here. This could be a really bad fight for him.
You think Johnny Case has the power to do what we've seen when he goes for a leg lock? And, we saw that a couple Rizins ago where he goes for a leg lock and gets pounded.
He actually gets one on. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think he had one. He had a leg lock on somebody who's getting blasted in the face, right? Yeah,
and he got knocked out by it. I can't remember what fight that was. Muhammad wouldn't know because he doesn't watch Rizin. But no, this is such a hard one for me to call. Because I agree with you, Case, and it seems like Case is getting better. Every time I've seen him fight, he's looking better and better. And yeah, Satoru is getting there, right? Like you said, he's a legend, but he's getting there. That's a hard one for me. Teep, what do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I'm going with Case. Trains at the MMA lab. He's only 30. He's got some momentum, and I just think, I think we're gonna see him put his shin right across this guy's grill. That's my unreasonably specific prediction.
Muhammad?
First round. Shin to the
grill. Oh, jeez. First round. Okay. I got to go with Youth. Even though these guys have the expertise and the heart to pull it out, but it's just such terrible matchups for all 3 of these older Japanese dudes. And I've picked against each one of them in these last 3 fights, and that's going to be the same case for the Johnny Case fight.
Well, all I could say is that I'll look forward to Satoru's entrance because it's always entertaining, a lot like King Reina. We're going to see some of the craziest faces you've ever seen in your life. He's crazier than Muhammad's face.
I saw him at Rizin 13. Did I tell you?
No.
I walked by him because I was lost and I couldn't find the entrance. And I see this little, just like, he's as white as he is tall and walks by with a mask, but it's the eyes. I saw the eyes. I was like, holy shit, I think that was Kitaoka. And the people I was with were like, this guy, like, what are you talking? Because nobody follows it. It was my wife and my friend and his wife. And like, yeah, okay, buddy. I was like, I wanted to ask him for an autograph or a picture, but I'm like, nah, I don't want to get it.
He's a pretty nice guy from what I understand. You know, all right, so we got the intermission. You guys want to play some music or watch some old fights or do something for the intermission here? Let me be serious for a second. You guys have a big problem with the intermission? Someone speak up that does.
It's too long.
Okay, so what would you suggest, Dean?
For the promotion?
Yeah, when you see intermissions, because what we've been seeing lately is a lot of fights from just the past few Rizins. Would you like to see some of the Confession series, or would you like to see some fights from Rizin 1 or the 2015 tournament? Would that make you feel better?
Anything, man. It's so long, but I understand the broadcast window is always the tough part. If the fights end early, if they're exciting, you're going to get a long-ass intermission. But I like how some promotions just move it right along, or they don't plan in. I mean, some of these Rizin intermissions are ridiculous long.
Let me just say I don't expect this one to be bad because this fight is not live on Fuji TV. It's on today, and it's going to be shown, I believe, August 7th. And so I don't expect it to be that long. That said, though, if things go kind of like Teep was saying, first round finishes, and like you were saying, you know, you just never know. The intermissions don't bother me as much, but, you know, me and Dean are kind of lucky because it's still kind of early. If we were on the East Coast, it would bother me a lot more because then it's going to be 4 or 5 in the morning, and you know you're looking at the sun coming up before you're watching this next fight. Speaking of the next fight, we got Taiga against Machida, and I've been so high on Taiga, and I don't know what else to say. But I'm going to stay there. I've been hyping this guy up for a year. He was 20 years old and won K1 belt. I mean, I've seen so much talent in this guy that he hasn't showed in Rizin. And so right off the bat, I'm just going to pick Taiga because if I, you know, can't change now. What do you think, Dean?
Man, yeah, Taiga started off really impressive. I think everybody was hyped on him, but he's had a rough couple of years. And if he's not careful, man, I don't know if he hasn't fixed those problems. Machida could be a tough fight for him. So we'll see if Taiga's bounced back. I think at one point they were even thinking, you know, he could fight tension in Rizin. I know he had a lot of hype behind him, but I think a lot of that's fallen off. This could be one of those moments where, you know, they pass that hype over to Machida.
Well, for fans that don't know, it's not just Rizin. It's been the Rise bouts, too. He's lost 2 or 3 times in Rise. Lost 2 times in Rizin. I mean, he hasn't looked very great. Teep, you got anything to say on this bout?
No, I'll pass on it. I'm looking forward to it, but no, I don't have predictions.
And Muhammad, you're going to take a pick here?
Just Taiga by familiarity because I don't know much about Machida. Okay. But I'm with you guys on the same page that it's been really rough for him, especially that last fight. Him getting dropped and stopped and stuff like that is just rough.
The interesting thing is that this is the second 2 kickboxing fights on this card. What did we have last time? 5 or 6? The Rizin 16, we had quite a bit. So I like the way they changed this up. I like sometimes more kickboxing fights, sometimes less, especially because we had Rise last weekend, and that was really good for anyone that didn't watch that. You know. All right, so now we got with this guy is the Iranian Hulk, correct? Is his nickname?
The Ural Hulk.
Ural.
Oh, what's that?
Ural Hulk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's fighting Hoon Kim.
Ali Akbari.
I'm gonna go to Dean on this one.
Oh man, I actually watched Hoon Kim fight once in the Olympic arena. This is a crazy story, man. I think they just must not have sold tickets very well. It was a Dennis Kong fight, and they moved us up. Could have been because I was the only white person in the whole arena, but they moved us up literally like front row, and I had the worst seats. I was trying to communicate with this guy, and my Korean was terrible, and I had this like nosebleed ticket, and I think they just papered it up just so it would look like people bought tickets to this Dennis Kong fight.
Where was this at?
This was at the Olympic Stadium. They used to do the Spirit MC fight. That was like the precursor to Road FC.
Uh-huh.
See a lot of those guys. I kept the card here. Dennis Kong was on that one. The Maestro, Ma Dong-hyung.
Let's see the card, Dean. Can't tease
Oh,
it.
here you go. I even kept it, man. I kept the it's all in Hangul, so it takes me a minute to translate.
You had sent this to me on Twitter, right? About a month back. Yeah, I remember this.
I had to find like 5 of these, but yeah, there he is, man. This was one of his first fights. I remember not being super impressed back then, but he's come a long way. It's tough for Korean guys to get that big, you know.
Yeah.
Their heavyweight, I think, is like 180 and over, at least back then it was. So you didn't see a lot of big dudes, or if you did, they were enormous and terrible. Everyone knows why he's there, man. He's being brought in to be sacrificed to this guy in front of everybody. So I'm sure he's a tough dude. You know, Koreans are tough guys to put away. So I think that's just going to prolong his beating. Really.
And where's Ivan's originally from? Iran?
Russia.
Russia. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was where he's originally from. This guy, has he fought at heavyweight? Because I've seen multiple pictures of him that sometimes he looks way bigger than other times. Somebody commented today, I don't know if you guys saw the media days yesterday or day before, he doesn't look as big as he did in his last bout. Did you guys see that?
What are you trying to say, man?
I'm not. The guy's been running a little bit more, you know?
Yeah. He's been eating that horse meat.
That's right. He's not eating
kangaroo meat.
He's not eating Canelo taco meat. Teep, did you pick this one?
Yeah, I'm going with the Hulk.
He's keeping getting lower and lower in volume, or what? Like he's getting farther away, like he's driving away from us. See you guys later.
Yeah, I even fail at speakers and mics. Yeah,
The Hulk. Dean, I assume you're going with the Hulk?
Yeah, I love that he's also serving a 2-year USADA suspension. And like the second he got suspended, he was like, "Whatever, I'm fighting in Rizin next weekend." Just no fucks given. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, he never fought in the UFC once. I mean, you know. So I guess he was just in the pool for. Do you know how long that happened? Do you know the timeline of that? I'm not too familiar.
It's USADA, so it's only a U.S. thing, you know. Japan doesn't care.
Well, no, I mean how long he was in the pool before he got suspended, because he never fought in the UFC.
Oh, immediately. Look at him. Immediately he got suspended.
Instant.
His first test, yeah.
He was never even in the pool. He just the pool, huh? That was it. All right, well, we're moving on. This is what I would consider the next two bouts, the battle back to Horiguchi. Likely the last chance for all these guys. I mean, I don't think Ulka Sasaki's ever fought Horiguchi, but either way. Yuki Matoya, former Deep champion, lost his belt to Victor Henry, who we're going to see on Rizin 18, which is great news, against Hiromasa. This fight is too close for me to call, because I've seen, even in the Victor Henry fight, Yuki Matoya has not shown decline to me, and he put Scoggins in a hell of a teepee choke. One of the most unique chokes. I was surprised that more people didn't nominate that for submission of the year. Because I didn't see nothing like that. You know, I haven't seen nothing like that in years. What do you think, Muhammad?
Again, too close to call, but just for the shit of it, Yuki Matoya, because why not?
Okay, Dean?
It's a great fight, man. Both these guys are really good. The Confession series has done a great job too. If you guys watch that, that Confession series is phenomenal. Did a great job of really documenting their story. Tough fight, man. I'm gonna go Okikubo by split decision.
Oh, wow, good prediction there. Teep, what do you got?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning Matoya on the decision. UD.
All right, I'm gonna actually. I have not picked very many, but I'm going to actually lean Matoya, and I think that he's going to get a late submission. I like both guys a lot. It's hard, you know, none of this is ever personal, as we all know, but you got to pick. I don't know. Hiromasa spot Horiguchi, as we're going to talk about Shintaro Ishiwatari, but sometimes these guys have their eyes on the prize and something else comes out of them, right? I mean, as we're going to now move on to Shintaro Ishiwatari against Ulka Sasaki, Ishiwatari was the king of Pancrase 2017, vacated the belt. I believe he had an injury. It took him 6 years to get back to Horiguchi from the Shudo days. And Horiguchi had went to the UFC, and once again with the Confession series that you talked about, they kind of highlighted this. Horiguchi goes to the UFC. Shintaro kind of chased him around, finally got his shot at the 2017 Bantamweight Grand Prix, won all the fights, finals, and came up short. But this is, I was talking to Teep earlier, this is one guy, and I don't want to discount Ulka Sasaki, but Shintaro Ishiwatari is one guy that I could actually see beating Horiguchi. And I know that sounds crazy, but he's that good. Whoever wants to take it away.
He could, yeah. He's one of the best guys out there, and he's a great scrapper. He's really fun to watch. Sasaki presents an interesting challenge because he's so grapple based, and he's looking for your back the whole time. He's so aggressive, and he presents a very realistic threat to Ishiwatari. I think he absolutely could get his back. He absolutely could finish him early. You know, we've seen him lose to the rear naked choke before. Ishiwatari is really awesome. This is kind of a weird fight for him, actually. But, you know, it's an important one for him to get back to Horiguchi. I think he can put him away with strikes. I think if Sasaki, he's really exciting because he comes for it, but if he doesn't get the finish, he's got a lot of vulnerabilities.
Teep, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Ishiwatari on this one. I just think he has the edge, and yeah, I do agree. Like, he's probably one of the, if not the main threats outside of like some of the Bellator guys, as far as a threat to Gucci. So yeah, I think he's going to take this one and then maybe get another swipe or have to win one more, get another swipe. Who knows? Yeah, I'm leaning toward him.
You got a big method of victory, or just?
No, I don't even know. He just seems better. You know, whatever.
You know, I want to ask you. I want to ask Dean or Muhammad. Maybe you could chime in on this too. Sasaki, to me, will look really good, and then he fought in like the Manel Cape fight where neither of them looked very good. Manel Cape has gotten way better, way better, way better. What do you guys think that fight was about? Why did neither guy look very good?
Yeah, it's just I feel like I wasn't expecting Cape to wrestle that much either, or like for it to be that much. So it might have caught Sasaki off guard because his whole thing going in was probably going to be like, oh, this guy wants nowhere to be on the ground and I'm going to catch him. And then they both like kind of clash in the wrestling and they're like, dude, what is going on? And that can kind of lead to that limbo kind of thing.
It was a weird fight, and I know that Cape is fighting Takaya Mizugaki at 135, even though you know he had expressed want to compete at 125. The reason I asked this, Dean, I'm going to ask you this: if you had to pick between these guys, Manel Cape, Takaya Mizugaki, the guys in this weight class, who do you give the best shot at beating Horiguchi?
The best shot really does go to Sasaki. I think he can choke anybody, but you know he can also get embarrassed by a lot of guys who really aren't ranked near the top. So it's absolutely style based for a guy like that. If he can get you down, if he can be way huger than you, if he can get your back right away, he can present a lot of threats. But if he can't do it, he might end up losing a decision or getting finished by a lot of guys out there. He's one of those. He's kind of like a glass cannon striker, but with his grappling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, like on a consistent basis, it's definitely Ishiwatari. Who, you know, if you gave him 9 out of 10 shots, who's going to win a couple? He's probably the guy.
Sasaki's still training with Ray Longo. Do you guys know?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I thought he was still based out of the States, even now, but I could be wrong.
I think that I mean, you know, you got to look at the fighters that Ray Longo brings up and see that they consistently get better. Kind of to Dean's point, you know, with the back takes and things like this. So I could see your point there. That's a hard one to call. I think that you guys agree that maybe the winners of these 10 and 11 bouts should fight each other in either October or, you know,
it's perfect. I mean, Gucci's tied up with his next fight, so.
Yeah. All right. So then we go to the main event, which is not Mikuru Asakura's weight class. Let me just say that off top. He's moving up 10 pounds. It is Yusuke Yachi's weight class. That being said, I don't know who I would pick to beat Mikuru Asakura. This guy is a straight killer.
Yeah.
Muhammad, what do you think about this fight? How do you see it going?
I got to go with, like Asakura brothers are pretty much like the Japanese version of the Diaz brothers, so it's really hard for me to pick against them. I just really like their backstory and watching them street fight in their confessions videos, and also just the way they've improved so much. It's really hard to pick against Asakura in this fight, especially with Yachi, who can kind of be, you know, like he looked, well, it's not hard to look good against Gomi now, but like he can be very wild, and we did see him get caught in one of the earlier Rizins. So I just see Mikuro being too technical, remaining disciplined, staying on the outside, and just picking him apart and probably putting him away in the second round.
Teep, what do you got?
Yeah, Asakura, I'm going that way. And it's not any disrespect to Yachi, good fighter, very powerful figure. But, you know, you look at Asakura, you know, like a 7-1 amateur career, 10-1, beat Gustavo. Now, granted, I think Gustavo was actually moving up, was it, for that fight?
No, Gustavo beat Yachi. We remember that? Gustavo flatlined Yusuke.
Yeah.
Right, but Asakura in the last, hold on, let me look.
Asakura's moving up in this fight.
No, I'm saying, did Gustavo move up to fight Asakura? No, that was it. He's a natural.
Oh, yeah, he did. You're right.
I thought he was a 135er who moved up. I could be wrong.
No, because he fought Yusuke before that. And so I think that they fought at a catchweight, I want to say. Dean, do you know?
I think I remember that too. Yeah, I want to say one of those Brazilian guys came over and went up.
It was Gustavo for sure, because that was Vanderlei Silva's guy. I just don't. I think it was a catchweight. I want to say it was like because he fought Yusuke before Mikuru fought him. Gustavo was undefeated. He knocked out Yusuke because his hair got in his way a little bit.
So he's a featherweight though. If he fought Asakura at featherweight, it sounds like.
Well, no, he fought Yusuke first.
Yeah, lightweight though.
So I think he went down after that to fight Mikuru, or they fought at a catch.
Pathology, I think, has his thing. If you bring it up, it should say.
I got it right here, guys. They fought at 149.9, so 68 kilograms, I guess.
Oh, so it was a catchweight.
The Gustavo fight. But as far as the prediction, I think Asakura's got this. Just a lot of a deceptive pro record, a lot more experience than even there.
Yeah.
Looked great against Gustavo, was very tough, put up a really serious fight. And I just think Yachi is good and he's fun to watch, but he jumps in a lot. And I don't think this is the guy to jump in a lot. Even if you're the bigger guy, I don't think you want to jump in on this cat. So
I told you that he cut his hair short.
Late first round, KO, punch right in the face.
Wow, good call. Dean, if I told you that Yusuke cut his hair all off, are you giving him more of a chance?
Not against Miku. He just doesn't have the ways to win. I think if you told me it ended by knockout, we'd probably think Asakura got the knockout. If you told me it went a decision, I could see it going either way. So I got to give it to the guy who has more ways to win.
Hold on a second though, Dean. What if Yachi grew a porn stash?
Ooh. He's Japanese, so that'd look pretty cool.
He took out Hobo Beard, Crookshank. You know, when Crookshank didn't come with the porn stash, he got knocked out. So, I mean, Yachi, you know, his hair is powerful, but the porn stash, you know, he might be able to take it.
That's true. Look what it did to Don Fry. I mean, made his chin way better.
Everyone picked that fight, correct? So you guys don't see the weight playing a factor at all here? I mean, you see Mikuru carrying the power up 10 pounds?
I don't think he's going to get slaughtered.
I think the speed will help the power translate. It won't be as hard, but the speed is going to work well because like there's some Yachi is a good, great fighter, but he's very dynamic, but he has some openings, and so that speed is going to come into play. I feel like Yachi's getting a lot better. Crazy B, of course, fighters have shown over time that they continually get better. I think this is going to be a little closer than people think. Like Dean said, I think that Yachi's path to victory, he's got less of them, and I think that if he wins, it's a decision. And if I close my eyes and you say it's a knockout, this is the way I feel against anybody against Mikuru Asakura, right? And anybody who watches the Confession series, if this guy wasn't fighting in the Rizin ring, he would be fighting with weapons outside somewhere, killing people. Like, no joke. This guy is no joke. He's not. His brother's a little more playful. He's not. You could see that he's not. And he got a lot of disrespect from this fight, from being called out and wanting to move up in weight. So, I mean, anybody that watched the press conference, this is probably the most intense I've ever seen him, and that's saying something because he's intense every time. So I'm gonna have to go with Asakura as well. Let me ask you guys this: if you're Asakura and you beat Yusuke here, do you want to jump in that lightweight tournament? Oh yeah.
He's threatened to. I was kind of surprised after his comments they didn't just make this another qualifier, because if Yachi wins, you got to think he's going to get in it too, right?
We talked about this a little bit earlier on the phone. The president had said that it's not necessarily who wins. He didn't talk specifically about this fight, but as we know with Pride, Rizin, sometimes it's not necessarily who wins. So let's say that Yusuke wins by decision, by leg kicking. I think that you're going to see Asakura move on. And that brings me to my next question. Who else do you guys want to see in the lightweight tournament? Cruikshank?
Yeah, I'd like to see him in there. I love his fight style.
Yeah.
In the Rizin ring.
Dean?
Qualifiers.
Well, they are kind of these are all kind of qualifiers, and there's going to be one more in August, and then we start in October. The only person who's locked in is Pitbull, right? And it is going to be
that's my dude.
What was that, Teep?
I said, hell yeah, that's my dude, man. I'm so happy.
I know you are, because he got a free pass. He got a bye in the first round. Your boy got a bye. If he had to fight Asakura, he wouldn't be making it past the first round.
Well, we'll see about that, man. He bangs, bro.
Dean, let me ask you this: if we just looked at these two guys, say that these two guys get in, the lightweights, that you picked, Johnny K. Let's just, for argument's sake, say that Cruikshank gets in. Who's your favorite in this lightweight tournament of the people we've seen so far?
I think even though he hasn't been super exciting in his last fight, man, I think you got to bring Brown back in until somebody beats him. It's the way a tournament works, so I'd like to see him in there as well. Pitbull's for sure going to be the favorite. There's a lot of good fighters, but it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel the same as when Rizin would have those Grand Prix where it was all champions. You know what I mean? Pitbull's, he's really that Rizin vision throwback for a federation, grabbing all the champions. I'd like to see what happened to that KSW champion Gamrot? Did he end up signing with the UFC?
I think that I heard that he did, but it might have been a rumor. I know
he signed elsewhere for sure, but things.
Yeah, but did he sign an exclusive contract? Do we know that?
All I know is he left because he vacated the belt there.
Okay.
But that'd be cool, man, if they could bring some other champions in. But I think, man, Pitbull being a 2-division champion in a really high-level league like Bellator, he's going to be a tough guy to beat. But if Pitbull Asakura materialized, that'd be a pretty crazy fight.
That would be a real crazy fight. How do you guys feel about this being an 8-man? Because it being an 8-man means that if it starts in October and they all fight in October, we're not going to see the 3 fights in 2 days, right?
Right. I'm cool with it. Maybe they'll do the last 2 fights in the same night. That's really the part that gets me going in a good way.
I feel like it's like the gauntlet, right? It's like you got to win on the 29th, and then you got to win twice on the 31st in a normal Grand Prix. And I assume that's not what they're doing here, because if there's only 8 guys, and unless they're not all competing in October, I don't know anything for sure. Maybe they'll have some alternates, but I'd say the favorite. I'm right along there with Dean. I would like to see Pitbull against Asakura. However, I wanted to see Asakura go into the Bellator tournament, because that's his natural weight class, right?
I would love that as an alternate bout. They have some badasses they didn't put in there.
I just wonder how much what it is about this fight. If it's just that bad of blood, I don't know enough of why he had to move up and he feels disrespected by it instead of getting to go into the Bellator tournament. I would have rather have seen that, to be honest with you.
I think it's Yachi's a personality. He wants to win over a personality from a higher weight class, and especially maybe he's eyeing that tournament.
But that's kind of my point, though. Yachi is okay. So say I weigh 220, Dean. If you're smaller than me, say I call you out. Isn't that kind of weird when the bigger guy calls the smaller guy out?
Oh yeah, I mean that's like the new rage. I don't like that shit. Some soap opera shit.
It's like the TJ Dillashaw thing, right? It's like, you fight you.
He wanted to fight. Imagine he wanted to fight Khabib. He beat this thing. This thing would beat Khabib's ass. Not because he's better, but he's much, much bigger person. They're not even close to the same size people.
Who wanted to fight who?
He wants to fight the lightweight champ. Get the fuck out of here. That is the easiest matchup he would have had in years. Khabib's great, but he's entirely unproven at welterweight. He's a zero factor at that weight class. It's not like light heavyweight where, the light heavyweights are basically heavyweight. It's lightweight to welterweight. It's the stiffest jump between the 2 deepest weight classes. you know, featherweight to lightweight is bad, but lightweight to welterweight is an enormous jump. So
I agree, but we just got done talking about Max Holloway earlier, and Dean, I didn't get to ask. I'm sorry, Dean, I didn't get to ask you this about Max Holloway, I don't think, but if you gave him a year, just like Mikaru, if you gave these guys some time to move up, do you think that that would affect the performance? I mean, have you seen that before, or?
If they're putting on size, you know, if that's their goal,
Mm-hmm.
systematically add size slowly. But that's not Holloway's game, you know. I think the guys he beats now or he beats in a year. It's just when it happens and how we attribute it. You know, he's just good. He's good. He's got fast hands. He's got great boxing. He fucks a lot of guys up. And the guys that he can't beat, I don't think his movement and his boxing, his takedown defense, and his, like, you know, guard game really gets better if he puts on size.
Yeah.
So much as if he just has the longevity and doesn't cut a lot of weight. But he's got pretty good cardio anyway.
Muhammad, same kind of question. If a bigger guy called you out, are you going to feel, do you see why Mikaru's so upset? I mean, do you think maybe?
Well, you also got to be mindful, like, you know how there was that bad blood between Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort. So a lot of times people from the same country, they have their own kind of internal cultural thing going on. So maybe it's more disrespectful, or perceived to be more disrespectful, that it's like one of your own guys calling you out. Or maybe, and you know, there's so much overlap in their gyms and everything that you never know. He could be feeling sore about I don't know, the Gomi fight, something like that. You know, you never know. So it's not just the weight thing, because I wouldn't take it as a sign of disrespect. I would say, okay, I'm being challenged, and it'll mean way more for me if I beat a guy bigger than me. Okay. So like that would be a pride thing, but it wouldn't be a disrespect thing.
All right, and so final questions here just to wrap it up. We'll start with Mr. TeepToTheJunk. What do you got for fight of the night? Let me zoom out here.
Fight of the night?
Fight of the night, sir.
The fight of the night is the main event. It's going to be explosive. I'm really pumped for it. I wanted Astor in that featherweight Grand Prix, the Bellator 16-man Grand Prix. I hope maybe even gets in an alternate bout if they're like, okay, beat Yachi's ass, go and be an alternate in that tournament, try and make a mill and bring the Rizin name up. That there's some great fights over there for it. So I mean, I'm down, you know, like but I absolutely the move of the year is Pitbull, the larger Pitbull going over to that Grand Prix. That's sweet. I just have to say that one more time.
No, that's okay. I would have just liked to have seen him have to compete for a spot. You just never know how the rules are going to affect a guy, right? I mean, you had Darian Caldwell who blamed it all on the ropes and the rules, and we saw that didn't mean a damn thing, right? But it might mean, and I've heard Pitbull talk about how he wants to soccer kick, but do you want to get soccer kicked? You know what I mean?
He has a win. He has a win via soccer kicks and stomps in the cage.
Right, long time ago.
So he's out there. He loves it. He probably because you know they're like high output fighters like Vanderlei back in the day. Like if you can knock a guy down and you're good with the soccer kick, it's worth expending the energy to knock a guy down. You don't have to posture over him and stoop down and punch him stupidly because he's down. If you can just kick him right in the grill, it's worth putting the output. So certain fighters have that thing. Like both Pitbull brothers are great because they do knock people down. Look at what little Pitbull did to Channel. Imagine if he could just soccer kick him right in the fucking dome instead of bothering to go down and punch. That would have been even shorter.
Well, I can't imagine that if you just put a bunch of fighters together and you had the Rizin Z by some of them, and you had one and you never even heard of the guy before, and he's got the Bellator B by him, TeepToTheJunk is picking that guy to win it all. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm probably guilty of a little bias, but like, sorry, I don't do that. So, but no, I don't even know if Pitbull's going to win the lightweight Grand Prix. And actually, I'm kind of leaning toward Claxton to win the featherweight Grand Prix.
And who do you think is going to win the lightweight Grand Prix here in Rizin?
Man, I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll let you think about that. We'll be talking again before Rizin 18. So I'll let you sit on that one. Dean, I want to ask you if you kind of made your picks, but if you had to pick an upset of the night, who would it be?
Ooh. Oh, man. Upset-minded, that's a tough one, man. Does Machida count?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, I mean, Tyga's recent history's been so bad. That one, I think it's worth it, man. I'd be surprised. I mean, I know they probably don't gamble a lot, but if that was pretty close to even, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I would consider that an upset for sure because I think that, I mean, I've seen Machida fight, but he's kind of younger, not as experienced as Tyga, and so I'd for sure consider that an upset. I think that they're kind of setting Tyga up to get his groove back. You know what I mean? Like Stella, right? Um, that's Muhammad's favorite movie, by the way, just so everyone knows out there. Muhammad, I'm going to ask you if you had to pick a submission of the night, who would you go with?
I'd have to go with Sasaki.
Oh, wow. Dean
Something.
changed your mind. You warped everyone's mind in here, Dean. All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoys it, and I hope we could all chat a little bit tomorrow and catch up before Rizin 18. Last thing I'm going to give to Teep. Teep, you got anything to say about tomorrow night?
No, man, I'm good. I've talked my ass off. It was just really cool talking to both you guys for the first time. Zach, you're already sick of me, but it's been nice wearing down your patience and just generally trying to get under your skin. So thank you for being victim.
I agree. I'd like to thank Dean for joining us. Dean, it's nothing but a pleasure. Muhammad, of course, always a pleasure. I hope we could do this again, and maybe before Rizin 18, something like that. I really enjoy your guys' insight, and you guys changed my mind on some things, and that's always a weird thing because you're going into a fight night thinking something, and you're like, God damn, Dean, So if I'm calling you guys tomorrow, that's why.
Hey guys, one last thing. Who wins? Okay, of the four of us, who wins the facial hair award?
Facial hair award? Oh, well, Muhammad, he's Muslim.
Bro. Okay, that is a serious beard. You get lost in there. Okay, you win.
You got to give it to him. I mean, me and Dean, but we can't even see you, bro. So you can't win anything. Okay.
I just look dirty. I just look dirty at a distance. I don't look bearded. I just look like I haven't washed.
Follow the guy without a picture at TeepToTheJunk. Dean, can you give your Twitter or your Instagram, wherever you want people to follow you?
Yeah. I don't even know what it's called. Just look up DeanHoneyBadger. Look for the guy trolling. You'll find me.
Look for him trolling him and tag us all in this. Muhammad, you got any social media, or does your wife not let you?
I'm awesome. I'm not present on there.
I hate to say I called it, but there you go. It's been nothing but a pleasure, guys, and we'll be talking.
All right, take care. Am I going to see you guys on Reddit during the live chat?
Yeah, I don't know. Is your wife going to let you?
I'm not on Reddit, man. I like girls.
Dean, I'm not even going to say nothing, but I know what kind of girls you like.
Think of how strong I'm going to be by the end of the summer, bro.
That's why I'm saying I know what kind you like, because I've been practicing the same thing, Be able to lift them all pretty soon. Teep, much love, buddy.
Yeah, hey, Muhammad, what's your Reddit handle?
He ain't got no Reddit. Oh, he does.
Oh, it's Supervillain Mo. SPRVLNMO.
All right, cool, man.
And then his wife's name at the end of it because it's a joint account.
Yeah, she has to oversee everything.
Yeah, she has to log in for him and make sure he logs up. What's up, guys? We'll be on the Rizin forum tomorrow talking some shit. Dean, everybody, we'll be also on Twitter, I'm sure, talking some shit. If you guys don't make it all through the night, though, then I don't think that we could talk anymore. So let's see who makes it, okay? Because I bet you Teep's the first one out. We want to take bets on that.
On what?
You're the first one out tomorrow night.
Me? I will be, because I am married and on a morning schedule. I'm gonna die.
Muhammad's wife controls his social media. He'll make it longer than you.
I'm already in trouble for being out here talking to you, motherfucker.
See, this is just getting sad. Dean, thank you so much again. Let's link up sometime. We're not too far away, huh, buddy? You got anything coming up? You've been training? You gonna fight anymore? We talked about this before, but
the Colorado Open coming up end of August.
Golf.
And couple tournaments coming up in September.
We talking golf here, or
just jiu-jitsu tournaments? I saw there's an MMA fight in I think it's in Pueblo coming up. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. I was going to ask you.
Headlined it?
And what day was that?
In the actual Pueblo?
No, it's Pueblo, Colorado.
Oh, okay.
It's just a town basically. You're in Springs, Dean?
Yeah.
If you find out the date, we should go to that. I can't remember. I wanted to say that it was late August or early September, but I'm not sure.
Let me
check it out, and we'll get Muhammad to have his wife come down. If that works.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds. Let me see. I want to say you might recognize this headliner, man. If you don't know anybody on that one, I did apply for a pro fight August 2nd full contact, but I don't know if that one's gonna go down, man. It's always a pain trying to deal with local promoters, so that's why the open tournaments are.
It really is, and if you're, you might want to stay in contact with me. I know that also down in Trinidad, Colorado, which is south of me here, there has been a couple fights down there. I don't know if they're full pro, they might wear shin guards, things like that. But Pueblo has been the place to be, man. I tell you what, there's been a lot of fights in Pueblo over the last few years,
August 3rd, Alyssa Garcia. I'm not sure if that's the same Alyssa Garcia.
Oh, it can't be. She's pregnant.
Okay. So obviously it's the same name then.
Hope it's not, at least, right? Jesus.
I want to say, I think I went to a jiu-jitsu tournament and I saw her on there thinking I was going to see the same person. And I think it is somebody in our scene with the same name. So regardless, there will be MMA fights. Last time I covered some fights, I got in for free, man. Andre Arlovsky sat next to me, so that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Played games on his phone all through my friend's debut fight.
Yo, Dean, did you sit on the nose side or the no-nose side?
No-nose side, man. It's way worse in person.
I'm sorry, I had to say it. I'm a meat.
Yeah, it's haunting when you see it in person, man.
I'm not saying anything about Arlovsky or Satoru Kitaoka. You guys can talk all the shit you want. I'm not saying
he's a legend.
But yeah, we'll check it out, man. You'll be surprised who shows up. I think
that's August 3rd?
Yeah.
That's next Saturday. If you decide to go, you should hit me up. I'm about an hour and a half away from there. If you decide to go, you should hit me up. I'll go join you there.
Yeah, we'll get you.
Do we need some press passes?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is that if you could send me any information, I could probably get us all credentials for it just through my website.
Yeah, I don't pay for stuff, so.
I don't want to pay for anything.
So we're gonna tell you your credential, and you show up, and you find out you're paying for everybody.
Well, we're gonna get a letter from you, Teep, that says that we're credentialed, and then when they call you, you have to explain it away. And if we don't get in for free, then it's on you.
If it's an amateur fight, we should just stay on weight, just in case.
It's an amateur fight?
As if it is, man, you should just stay on weight and get in there.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'd be fighting at heavyweight right now, and somebody would kick my ass really fucking bad. So, let's not even go there. But no, seriously, if you find out something about it, let me know. We'll be in contact. Muhammad, always a pleasure, buddy. I'm sorry to give you so much shit, but we go back the furthest, so once again, Dean, follow Dean on Twitter. TeepToTheJunk. Much love. He finally shows himself. It's unbelievable. Look, we're about to get off, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna show myself. I'm a heavyweight too, motherfuckers." Me and Teep, August 28th. I'm coming for you, motherfucker. Much love, y'all.
All right, bye, guys.